Hi guys, in this video I want to go into another, I guess, pop culture rant. And one of the biggest things that is shown to me when I go through my YouTube feed or even my X feed is like red pill content. Now, is red pill content sometimes true? Are they right about divorce laws and all that kind of stuff? Yes, but the fundamental red pill truths about biology, men and women, intersexual dynamics, I do think is broken, and I am going to explain why. So forgive me as I look at my notes here so I keep this video together. What is really the central tenet of the original red pill, which is evolutionary psychology and how men and women interact with each other? Well, you could say that it's survival and replication. Survival and replication is the atheistic evolutionary psychology point of view on what the meaning of life really is. It's to not die and spread your DNA. So let's take that as the central tenet. Try not to die and survive as best you can, and replication is important to spread your DNA before you die. So down from that we get this core tenet that a lot of people talk about, which is sex and relationships. Men control the keys to relationships, women control the keys to sex. Now, a lot of people can agree with this tenet, but I think it's an incomplete tenet, and I think because it's incomplete, it's fundamentally broken, and you can see that in society, and you can see that in red pill commentary, I think, a lot of the time. So what does it mean that women control the keys to sex, men control the keys to relationships? Well, take a man and a woman on a date. The man is probably trying to have sex with a woman, and he can't do that unless she lets him, right? Conversely, a woman should generally want an emotional connection and to be with a man in a secure relationship. Look at any dating app. Most women are like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, I want to settle down, all this kind of stuff. And they're not able to do that unless a man similar to them letting men sleep with them. The man is letting her take him off the market and to be with her, in a monogamous relationship, which fundamentally is unnatural for men. So a woman has to sacrifice. That's why she holds the key. She has to sacrifice when she sleeps with a man. A man has to sacrifice when he gets in relationship with a woman. I think we can all agree that's how that dynamic works. So what is wrong with that tenet then? It all seems to make sense. Women hold the keys to sex, men hold the keys to relationships. Well, the problem with it is it's incomplete, because sex is not a goal, but a relationship is a goal. So even though it sounds like a cool little saying, it's not balanced. Sex is not an end, it's a means. So if you want to make that part of the equation equal, then it should be women hold the keys to children, men hold the keys to relationships. Then it's even. Saying women hold the keys to sex is like saying you're going to take that key just for the sake of opening the door, but you're not going to go in the door, right? You just like opening doors. Like a man's goal, if you follow that number one tenet of survival and replication, is replication. It's what all of his biological markers say, his sperm production, etc., etc. That's what biology is. That's the message a man's biology is sending, that he wants to spread his seed, which means have children, lots of children, spread his DNA far and wide. So getting the key for the door for the sake of just opening the door is incomplete. It seems strange. On the opposite side, it would be like the woman going, well, I just need the guy to say he's in a relationship with me, and then I got him to be in one with me. So she got the key to the relationship, but then because he said, okay, you're my girlfriend, and then she's happy, and then he just blocks her and doesn't reply again. That's kind of what it's like. Like you got the key to the door, you opened the door, but then you didn't get to go in the door. So this is gonna maybe go over a lot of people's heads. It might be a nuanced point, but fundamentally, if you are just using the key to open the door, then what you're doing is you're having scared sex. Fundamentally, if you follow the logic, having sex without the intention of having a baby is having scared sex. If you're a guy, think about the last time you were intimate with a woman. At some point, there was probably a little voice in your head that said, I hope this condom works, or, oh, I better take it out now, right? You were scared. You're scared of having a baby. So we all have scared sex. So the irony, therefore, is a lot of these red pill and pickup artist commentators are claiming to be alpha males, alpha male status. But it seems very difficult and contradictory to me to say you're an alpha male and say that you engage in scared sex, right? I mean, if you just think about it, if you're worried, if you have that little voice in your head saying, oh, she better not get pregnant, number 526 girl in my house better not get pregnant, how do you line that up with being an alpha male? Because you need to line up being an alpha male. If you're going to use the term alpha male, if you're going to use the red pill tenet of survival and replication, then you have to also say that most people are having scared sex, and scared sex is not alpha. So you can't subscribe to the main tenet and then also claim to be an alpha male if you're engaging in scared sex with hundreds of women. So this idea of getting a woman, right? So sex is for procreation. So the concept of getting a woman, like you'll hear guys, oh, I got her. Oh yeah, finally got her. And you got to think like that's kind of a mental issue that person's having. Like, what did he get? What did he get? He got a memory. Is she his forever? Does he own her? Is she birthing his child? That would be getting her, right? If we say it how it is, if we call a spade, that would be getting her, quote unquote, I suppose. But really the only thing you can be talking about when you said I got her is you got friction, and then you got scared, and then you left when you were finished, and then, oh, I got her. You know, it's a bit empty, it's a bit incomplete, it doesn't make sense, right? If you really think about it to your core, that's not an alpha male trait. So sex defining how alpha you are, let's go into that a little bit deeper. So a lot of pickup guys out there, a lot of them are really strange people, you can tell, especially the ones that are talking about their notch count, right? And they define themselves and their alphaness by their notch count. Like, oh, I'm up to 100, I'm up to 1,200 notches now, you know, so I'm the best guy. Really? Like, you're the best guy at what? Scared sex? So you can tell, I mean, it's obvious, like all of these men who talk like this, their personalities are broken, they have mental issues, and they didn't get the memo that after a certain age, nobody really cares about sex anymore. It's not really impressive. Like, really, you're gonna make scared sex the peak attribute of your personality and your identity? Like, that's a bit lame. Like, honestly, after a certain number, it gets kind of weird to say it. And after a certain age and a certain number, it gets more and more weird. You can't sit around polite society and be like, oh, I probably had sex with 700 women, and you're like 47. Like, it's kind of weird. It's not braggable anymore. Maybe it's braggable if you're like 21 to your other 21-year-old idiot friends, and they're like, oh, dude, you're so great. You're up to number 75. But then you grow out of it. Like, the reason it's impressive then is because it's new and most other guys are not doing it. But then after you get mature, it's weird to still be making that a major or the main part of your identity. So let's think of like, who's the biggest alpha that's ever been? Who's a real alpha male? Like an alpha male that nobody can argue with. And it's probably Genghis Khan. That's the guy that comes to my mind immediately. 0.5% of men on the planet carry his DNA. So that guy was not having scared sex. So if you're out there pumping out content on pickup and your notch count and red pill and you're like, I'm an alpha male, but you're having scared sex, well, if you're gonna say that you're Genghis, be Genghis for real. Because if you're not Genghis, stop pretending that you're Genghis. Just say, you know, I have scared sex a lot, and I get scared at the end, and but actually that's a big part of my identity, is that I've like had scared sex a lot. I mean, just say it, just call a spade. That's what it is. That's what you do, right? Imagine you and Genghis riding into a village, and then you know, do your thing, and then you round up all your concubines, and Genghis is there kind of, you know, with his extra 10 wives spreading his DNA around, and then you're like, oh, actually I'm just gonna put on this latex and like I'm gonna have the scared sex over here in this corner, right? That's like, you got to think about it, like that's what you're doing, right? So How does that make you how does that make you like this alpha male guy if you're not the alpha, right? You're talking like you're Genghis, but you're not Genghis at all. You're not even close to Genghis. Another red pill tenet are that men are defined by their achievements, right? So that can't be true unless you agree with that initial tenet. Achievement, it's not an achievement to get a key and open a door and then be like, oh, I opened the door. An achievement is not a process. Achievement is the thing that you reach at the end. That's why it's called an achievement. It's a completed objective. So if a man is defined by his achievements and his completed objectives, then how is the hedonistic act of scared sex considered an attribute to what makes a man alpha? It's not, right? Like, I feel like this is an obvious thing, and I've never heard anyone talk about this, but it doesn't line up for me. Like, if the core tenet of evolutionary psychology, the red pill, is survival and replication, survival means don't die and live a strong life for as long as possible, and replication, then surely the highest achievement is the replication, and after, of course, not dying, the replication, right? So scared sex is you stopping right at the finish line before you replicate. So if you're going to believe in that top red pill tenet of survival and replication, then you have to agree that it's not alpha to have scared sex, because scared sex is not achieving your goals. It's not completing an objective, which is what an achievement is. So you're not achieving anything by, you know, hedonistic scared sex. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Look, I've had scared sex as well. You know, I'm sure everyone has, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. If you're sitting there counting notches and you're publicly doing it and you're teaching it and you think you're the man, you're not the man. You have mental issues, right? You have a mental problem. And the higher number you go and the older you get at the same time, it just makes you look like your mental problems are just so ingrained that you're probably never gonna escape them. Like, you have an issue. I mean, you're defining your sense of worth by how many times you've had scared sex. How many times you've had sex with someone and gotten scared. Like, let's take away sex from the equation. Let's put it in a different context. It's kind of like being the fastest sprinter in the world, but then you stop at the finish line because you're too scared of the crowd applause when you go over the line, so you just never finish. But you're really fast up until the point, and then you can't go through with the thing that you're supposed to do, which is the most fundamental achievement one can have if you follow the evolutionary psychological biological principles, which comes from meaning of life is survival and replication. So that's all. I've seen a lot of these channels popping up. I hate them all. They're acting alpha because of notch counts, but their logic is completely broken, and I've proven why it's completely broken. If you're gonna say you're alpha, if you're gonna act alpha, if you're gonna act like the man, if you're gonna act like Genghis, then be Genghis for real, or shut up. All right, that's all. I hope you enjoyed that rant. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.